And the Demons have got a potential date with Collingwood, the way things are tracking, Lordo. And if they can win that with Collingwood wounded, they're the 1 seed in just 2 weeks from now, which would be an even more remarkable story. Nick, the decline of the Pies over the past month, where do you sit on this? How concerned are you?
Well, I'm looking at 3 areas, Hutch, and you can see points against. They've gone from the best defensive side to the worst in the space of a month. So it's just dramatic, the fall away from them and the holes that have been up. So I'm looking at 1 is injuries. We can talk about injuries. 2, that they had top spots secured, so they're mentally off. But 3, have they been worked out? I think it's a combination of all 3. But I've also heard the coach become quite consistent in what he's had to say after the games as well.
Yeah, there's something to be said about hunger, isn't there? You know, take something away from someone and there's an element of like, I want that back. Yeah, we'd love to get a little bit of that in all our players right now. It's interesting, you know, what our players are, you know, where they put their energy. There's a bit of play late in the game. I think it might have been Morrison tackles Noble and the crowd roars. And the 4 or 5 players get over to celebrate the tackle. That's been us for a large part of the last 18 months. That's been our energy levels and our want and excitement for others. Yeah, it's a fascinating game. I think the game's played above the head more than people give it credit for.
So injuries aside, I can see the coach himself is asking questions of his own group about, we're just not quite there.
First time he looked testy on the weekend.
Yeah, he did. So Friday night becomes big. They don't just turn up to beat us, and they've got to beat them badly in the way that we've seen. In Melbourne are winning in ruthless fashions. Brisbane are. Port are. Collingwood haven't for a while. So not the comeback from behind wins. Go hard from the start and win well.
And they're searching.
Can I just very quickly report that Xander Maguire was down at Collingwood today and he saw Nick Dacos on a bike and without crutches. And that's the first time he's been seen without crutches and genuinely. So very, very good news for the Collingwood Football Club.
And they need him back in this midfield, Cara, because they're searching for the right midfield mix. His brother Josh went on ball. It's unusual for him to do that. Lipinski was in there. And the move to put Tom Mitchell on Lachie Neale, the Brownlow medalist, didn't work. So there's definitely a lack of leg speed through the midfield. And he was exposed, not at the contest, but around the periphery of the contest. And you watch the way that Neale was able to explode away from Tom Mitchell. So I think he is definitely vulnerable inside this midfield mix when Dacos and De Goey come back in. And I thought it was a big ask to ask him to do that. And he failed a test on the night. And, you know, it was pretty stark the way that Lachie Neale was able to do this and win clearance after clearance.
Yeah. I saw something, you know, there's obviously the midfielders, Kane. So that's their challenge without Nick Dacos is the depth, because no doubt without Dacos and De Goey, we were 2 big outs. They were found out by that.
Yeah, there's opposition clubs that think that's the area that they are a bit thin through the midfield, and that's the area that they think Collingwood are gettable. And when you put the names up like that, I guess it's hard to argue.
I never delve in this area very often, but I saw a shot for goal on the weekend where I reckon a rule change has to happen in the off-season, that you should be able to move off your mark inside 50. You see Braden Maynard here. He can see Hipwood is just rorting the rule that you can't move. So the umpire's got to call play on quicker. So they're actually creeping extra, knowing the player can't move. And you see Maynard afterwards, he's just ropeable, saying to the umpire, you need to call on play on quicker, so I reckon that needs to be changed.
That's poor umpiring,
yeah,
though.
You
should have stopped him.
Yeah, or
I agree with you, because
yeah.
the rule is redundant in a set shot anyway. It's designed about moving the ball to a teammate, not to a goal.
So players can nearly creep up beside the player on the mark because they know they can't move, which is a problem.